We obviously watch the show Dragon Ball for its characters, but more than anything, we watch it for its fights. In this 3-video series, we're going to analyze every fight Goku has ever had, from Yamcha in the desert to Broly in the Arctic, and every fight in between. And in this episode, we are looking at every fight that Goku had in Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, rock the dragon.
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon, rock the dragon, come.
After opening to some wonderful shots with Goku being introduced as having a son and meeting his friends again, and everything seems nice, and that leads us into our first fight with Goku's brother, Raddatz. This fight stands out a little bit because it's really the first time that you see Goku team up with someone. And it's not just teaming up with someone, it's teaming up with the guy who was pretty much the final boss of the last series. The beautiful part about this fight is that it showcases everything that we've seen Goku do in every single fight from old school Dragon Ball. It's not completely over the top yet. It's more down to earth. It's very, very fast still. It's super aggressive. I remember watching this fight and being blown away. It's one of my favorite fights because I feel like it's just so straight to the point. There's not a lot of playing around here. We've got high-speed, non-stop, full-throttle combinations from both Goku and Piccolo during this fight. Goku's still very acrobatic, and you can really see that he is putting every ounce of himself as a fighter into this fight. He's not holding back. He is going all out. Goku even showcases that he can bend the Kamehameha. On top of all of that, Goku showcases that he's upped his grappling a little bit better with a full Nelson. Unfortunately though, Goku pays the ultimate price for saving his son when he gets hit in the chest by the special beam cannon.
Vegeta, what did you say his power level is? It's over 9,000! 9,000?!
Up next is Goku versus Nappa. It's really time to highlight just how much stronger and faster that Goku has gotten while training with King Kai. Goku is dodging all of Nappa's attacks, he's baiting for openings, and he's landing serious strikes to vital areas.
I haven't even begun to show you my full power!
And it isn't until Nappa powers up that Goku has to get serious and unleash a Kaioken. However, once he unleashes a Kaioken, he goes straight for the win. So prior to the Kaioken, we've gotten a lot of him being acrobatic and he's slipping, so he's doing a lot of actual martial arts techniques, mind you, at high speed, and he's landing attacks that are actual attacks. However, once we get the Kaioken, he kind of goes into this superhero kind of attacking where he just slams both of his fists full speed into Nappa's spine and then catches him underneath. So it's really a technique showcased as an example of something that Goku is now capable of that no one else could be capable of just because of what his current abilities are.
Vegeta, why? Because I'm a monkey!
Alright, next up is a big fight. We've got Goku versus Vegeta. This fight starts off with some really, really beautiful shots of those two getting ready to go to war. To start off with, Goku goes with a big lunge punch to start. You can see that he's just kind of testing the waters here. Vegeta dodges that punch very easily. Goku's karate style punches are easily getting parried and blocked by Vegeta's boxing style. You can plainly see kind of an East versus West martial arts style competition here. Goku has no guard, so he's getting hit a lot. Despite Goku's increased speed and strength, he's getting completely outclassed. Goku has to use the Kaioken, which is just a massive speed and strength boost, to overcome Vegeta. Utilizing the Kaioken technique, Goku throws some high-speed jabs. He's swinging for the fences with his other punches, kicks, elbows, and knees, and everything else, but they connect thanks to the Kaioken burst of speed. So he's able to increase his speed and strength enough to that he can just throw every single full power attack that he wants to and have them land. Because at this point, Vegeta is obviously stronger than Goku, and honestly, I would say probably more skilled. He has to use the Kaioken to increase his speed and strength enough to overcome that gap. So while Goku is using his instincts in that fight, and he is doing his best to try to land as many good strikes as possible, because of the nature of the technique that he's using, and because he's just trying to do as much damage as possible in a short amount of time, he's effectively brawling. Unfortunately, once Vegeta transforms into the Great Ape form, Goku loses. And that's pretty much the end of the fight. After this fight, we don't see Goku fight for a while.
Rikum's gonna kill you!
We don't see Goku fight anybody until he lands on Namek versus the Ginyu Force. Much like Nappa, he's dodging and waiting until the last second to deliver a finishing blow. With Ginyu, a lack of footwork, but he's dodging, throwing jabs and straights, but still has no guard to be seen. It seems like he's gotten lazy with his fighting in assuming that he'll be the stronger person in the fight rather than his opponent. I think that has to do with the fact of the type of training that he's done. He's done the 10 times gravity training and then the Kaioken to kind of stack on his normal power. And then he did the 100 times gravity training and he still got the Kaioken. So he's just like, I don't necessarily need to be the better fighter. I can just up my strength as much as possible until I'm stronger and then I win. Goku has very little wrestling. So when he's caught in a low-skill grapple by Captain Ginyu, he can't get out. Come on, Goku, just do some grappling. The rest of the fight is all energy blasts, so that's pretty much all that's going to do. This fight leaves Goku completely wrecked thanks to the body change and the weird stuff that goes on with it. So he is out of commission until it's time to fight Frieza.
Put him in the pod.
I wonder if this will become a trend.
And that's our next fight. Goku versus 4th form Frieza. This is an odd fight. Mostly, this is a lot of trying out strange tactics to get a feel for Frieza, because obviously Frieza is on a completely different level than anything he's ever touched. And Goku's also not quite sure what he's capable of, because he's got this Zenkai from healing in the tank, and he's wielding the Kaioken at a level that he's never done so before. So there's a lot of big attacks followed by lots of analysis and waiting and trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. Frieza's pretty excited, so he says he won't use his arms. Goku's throwing a lot of kicks with the same leg, so it's very Taekwondo. Frieza doesn't have a problem dodging any of this. There's good reason for that, and it's easy to see coming. Goku takes advantage of his opponent's additional limb and grabs Frieza's tail. There's some throwing, biting, classic Goku. Once the two finally start engaging for real, however, apart from feeling each other out, Goku is completely out of his depth. And Goku can't even rely on the Kaioken to bridge the power gap, let alone overcome it. It's not until Frieza kills Krillin and Goku turns into a Super Saiyan that he is given the necessary bump to overcome that power gap, which causes Frieza to panic slightly, go full power, and start to brawl, instead of fighting smart. In the midst of the brawl, Goku's stamina is greater than Frieza's, and he is able to outlast the tyrant. The techniques employed are a lot of large strikes and bouncing in the sky. So this is much like we had a different level of fighting once Goku introduced the Kaioken, because they are moving at such high speed and they are fighting with such a vast amount of power. There's a new type of fighting that's sort of happening. This, I'm so strong that I'm just going to throw myself into you, and my opponent is also so strong that they're going to do the same thing, and we have to recover after every strike because they're so massive. Most of the fight is just giant attacks hurled at each other. However, toward the end, the brawling looks a little more skillful, with last-second dodging and countering. You can see that Goku's got some head movement as Frieza's throwing a punch, and he's delivering counters. And he's got a giant downward elbow to the top of the head to round out the fight. So this fight, a lot of brawling, a little bit of karate, and it's been 4 hours of on-screen fighting. Alright, next fight, Goku versus number 19. You can tell that Goku is aware that he has a problem. He knows that he's not as strong as he should be right now because of the heart issue. I don't know that he's quite aware that he's having that issue, but he is aware that he's not up to his normal strength. Blocking and deflecting using gymnastic-type movements to move over and around 19 during the exchange, you can see that he's trying to avoid getting hit as much as possible. We've got a karate-style rear elbow to 19's back. Goku, knowing he's weakened, is throwing big attacks. Wind-up soccer kick to 19's midsection, spinning elbow to the face, and just throwing non-stop kicks and punches in combination. He is going all out. You can feel the desperation in his attacks. He's dodging well because he knows he can't take much damage. He's got some head movement and some blocking. Still no guard, but he's being mobile. That's fine. You can see a lot of guys in MMA, they don't necessarily have a guard because they're being mobile. Uppercut to spinning side kick before burying his fist into 19's midsection, and then a double axe hand. You can tell he's really trying to finish it. He is trying to end this fight with everything he's got. However, once Goku's energy is stolen from the Kamehameha, you can visibly see his technique degrade. Wide swinging blows and getting easily countered. Even dropping an elbow directly onto 19's face does literally nothing, and then he proceeds to get dunked on until this fight is over and he has a heart attack. Overall breakdown, gymnastic-like karate-style fight on Goku's part until he got overly desperate and it turned into a sloppy brawl. Overall, we're pretty far into Dragon Ball Z, and we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major fights for Goku. He's fighting a lot less in Dragon Ball Z than he did in Dragon Ball. Also, his record's not very good in Z. Poor Goku. Next fight, Goku versus Cell. Still no guard. Lots of movement. There's some tests of strengths, hands on hands. It feels a lot like previous tournament fights where they're feeling each other out, dodging and returning strikes, attacking blind spots. There's some 4-fist strikes. Not too many new attacks or skills. It seems largely like he's just showcasing all of his skills that he's got up to this point, and we don't really see anything new except for the Warp Kamehameha, which is honestly super smart on Goku's part, so he at least showcases something that's awesome. And if it hadn't been for Cell's regeneration, which was a legit hack, Goku would have won that fight. However, Goku just gives up.
I give up.
I'll kill him!
I'm sorry, I'm rather high up here. What did you just say, Goku?
I give up. You win. Great fight.
Which is a technique we haven't really seen him use before.
He's either saving all of our lives or dooming us all.
The next fights we see in the anime are in the Otherworld tournament, which we can kind of jump over the first few fights because they're just sort of like dealing with weird abilities that the opponents have. Post that, we've got Goku versus Pikkon. And even though it's a filler fight, you can sort of see the very beginnings of the kind of fighter that Goku is going to be once he gets back on Earth. And we can see the culmination of what that is in Goku versus Majin Vegeta. This fight is one of the most skillful fights that Goku has had, period. He's got head movement but no guard. He's guarding with his knees. He's checking kicks with his leg. Very Muay Thai. He's throwing a lot more knees, especially high knee strikes. He has his guard up while blocking kicks. He's doing a lot more countering, some sweeps. Goku is getting mostly beaten by Vegeta though. Goku rushes into exchanges and Vegeta mostly wins them by being more mobile and exploiting Goku's lack of guard. He throws a really big haymaker toward the end of the fight. More full contact Kyokushin-esque karate here. and Muay Thai influences in this fight than we have ever seen before. Goku has really showcased his combat in this fight. So if you compare Goku versus Vegeta the first time to Goku versus Vegeta now, you can see the skill increase. It is a massive skill increase. Goku is much more aware of how to fight at high speed with skill. He knows that he's not going to be able to win with just strength. He knows that Vegeta is a good fighter, so he's going to have to keep his guard up and he's going to have to be technical. You can really feel the intensity in the fight between Goku and Vegeta when they're locked up with their hands. And it's not just like a test of strength because they're not fully extended like they normally are. You've seen him do the fully extended pro wrestling style hand-on-hand thing with Tien. You've seen him do it with Frieza. You've seen him do it with Cell. But it's different here. This feels a lot more like hand fighting. They're holding each other's arms, but it's more like they're waiting for the opportunity to do something else. But even when they're waiting for that opportunity to do something else, they're still attacking each other. They are headbutting each other with full force. Honestly, I love this fight. It's a fantastic fight. Unfortunately, letting his guard down, even though they were talking, gets him KO'd and he loses. Some people are going to argue with me on that, but protect yourself at all times. Alright, the next fight is Goku versus Fat Buu. And Goku versus Fat Buu is really just him throwing a bunch of kicks and then using Fat Buu like one of those balloons on the end of a rubber band. Bang, 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 bang. That's about it. Next up is Goku versus Kid Buu. In this fight, Goku is moving around his opponent with various strikes, sort of fluid like capoeira. So he starts off with this very interesting combination where he throws an attack and then rolls over the top and then throws an attack and then rolls around and then throws another attack. It's really, really quite beautiful. Once he turns SSJ 3, it's so many Kamehamehas. So many Kamehamehas. And the fighting that does happen seems like him dodging Buu's weird fighting style, because Buu has a very, very strange fighting style because of the nature of his body. With occasional DBZ style hand throwing thrown in there, which is pretty good with some blocking and attacking, all things considered. There's continuous large attacks, so he's throwing a side kick, elbow thrust, somersaulting axe kick, big punches. These attacks are all very reminiscent of like a Kyokushin style. Goku is largely beaten at this point as his stamina runs out in Super Saiyan 3, and Buu just seems to have an endless well of stamina. However, Goku is able to utilize a giant spirit bomb to defeat Buu, but does Goku actually win this fight? I don't know. So far, Goku's got a really, really poor win-loss record in Dragon Ball Z. So if we look at the whole of Dragon Ball Z, Goku's got a pretty poor win-loss record. However, if we look at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z and how he fights there, and look at the last two fights of Dragon Ball Z, we can see that his fighting style has improved considerably. And I think that's something very interesting, because we can see from the beginning of Dragon Ball to the end of Dragon Ball, his fighting style does improve, but it's not that much different than it was at the beginning. If you look at his win-loss record for original Dragon Ball, he wins the vast majority of his fights. However, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku seems to lose the vast majority of his fights, but his fighting style actually improves a lot more from the beginning of Z to the end of Z. So I think there's something to be said there that Goku at least takes the lessons from his losses and makes himself into a better fighter. If we were to look at the similarities between Goku's fighting style and real-world martial arts, his style looks like, in order of importance, karate, Kung Fu, Muay Thai, Capoeira, Boxing. And then at the very, 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 very bottom, Pro Wrestling. I just want to reiterate this. Goku cannot grapple. He is very bad at it. And that is going to pretty much stay the case forever. So that was every fight that Goku had in Dragon Ball Z, and we can see that he improved a lot during this series. However, we're going to stop here for now, and we will take a look at Dragon Ball Super in the next video. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click that like button, and then go ahead and share this with all your friends so that they can see how Goku's fighting style has evolved throughout time. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and until next time, good luck and train hard.